Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I hope you're well for a Saturday. I am fine. I slept in a bit. Daria must be working today, unfortunately. So, hey, Real Dave. So, let's go through yesterday's basketball first. Gold's off for Good Friday. 22-33. Amazing. So, yesterday, Duke and Houston. Houston, a 4.5-point favorite. I don't trust them. Duke wins. I play under 133, and they score 54-51. Very happy there. Got a big win, 20 unit, 105. All right, so we hit that one. We lose the Purdue Gonzaga game. Purdue wins 80-68. Over under 154. They get to 148. Gonzaga scores 85 a game, didn't score, and they both had similar defenses. So, fooled there. Creighton, Tennessee, have the over there. It is 82-75 Tennessee. The over-under was 145. They get to 157. Another W. And the last one is Marquette, NC State. We play this game under. Marquette 7.5. NC State beat Oakland. That's all I need to know. So I don't trust either team, but I do see that they're pretty low scoring. So I go under 151, and it was 125 was the total. So two very low scores I have. The only losers, Purdue Gonzaga, who I can't believe they both average 85 points a game. Purdue gets 80, but Gonzaga only gets 68. Purdue's defense isn't that good. It's a 70. It's not like Houston's was a 57. So there you go. It leaves us now with 2 games today, 2 games tomorrow. Let's take a look at them. So we got UConn 8.5 against Illinois and 154. UConn scores 81 a game, gives up 64. Illinois 84, gives up 73. UConn against San Diego State wins 82-52. So they're holding them pretty low, and they are scoring 80. So is it another UConn 25-point win against Illinois, who beat Iowa State? They're a good defensive team. Does Illinois, who scores 84, put up 72 on Iowa State? So it could get into the 150s, or you could go Connecticut, laying the 8.5. If we could tease it, we'd lay 2.5. I would tease Connecticut. I don't know about that. We got to look into it a little bit more. In game 2, so that's a 6:09 game. I don't know why it's on TBS. I don't get TBS. Strange network to have it on. Alabama 3.5, 160. 164.5 against Clemson. I think Clemson's a very live dog here after beating Arizona. Alabama beats North Carolina 89-87, so it's a close game. I think it'll be a close game here. You don't really know, is North Carolina better than Clemson? It's a tournament. I think it's really who's playing better ball right now. I think that's the problem with the tournament. You kind of throw out everything. It's a matchup. I mean, these remind me of bowl games where you're really trying to get a matchup going. 164. Clemson scores 77, gives up 70. Scored 77 on Arizona. So I expect them to be near 80. Alabama's a very high-scoring team, 90 and 81. They beat North Carolina 89, so I'm expecting this game to be in the 160s. I think Clemson's a very live dog. I think the game should go over. So I'm going to go over on the game. I mean, Alabama averages 90 points a game, but gives up 81. So Clemson should be able to score a lot. Connecticut, Illinois. I mean, Connecticut's an 81-64, so they got a good defense. Illinois is an 84-73, so they're 10 points better defensively than Illinois. Yeah, I think UConn wins. Now, again, I haven't seen any of the UConn games, so I have no idea. 154, you're a little skeptical because of their 64 defense. So it's like an A team playing over team. You just take the A team. So let's go minus 8.5. Small. And then let's look tomorrow. There's only 2 games. Tomorrow we got Purdue, Tennessee. We got Purdue 3.5, 147.5. Seems like a low number, 3.5. Tennessee is the 2 seed. So over here we got Clemson, a 6 seed, playing a 4 seed Alabama. We got Connecticut, a 1 seed, playing Illinois, a 3 seed. Here we got Purdue, a 1 seed, playing a 2 seed in Tennessee, who beat the 3 seed Creighton 82-75. So there was points. 147 with this. Tennessee has the pretty strong D. Well, Creighton got 75 on them, but Creighton scores 80. Purdue scores. Yeah, I think you're looking at a 150. So I like over in this game. Again, we'll try Purdue over. I don't know Purdue. I know they choke all the time, so I can't really lay the points. Tennessee, SEC, they beat Georgia, they beat Alabama. Oh, that's football. Well, the same thing. And last but not least, Duke against North Carolina State. Duke is laying 6.5, 142.5. Right off the top, I think NC State's a live dog. They're an 11 seed who just beat the 2 seed, 67-58. They're playing really well. Duke, all right, they were the dog against Houston, so they pulled a Mahomes, right, as the dog. We can't beat dogs. But now they're 6.5 point favorites over NC State. NC State's a 76-73 team. They scored 67 on Marquette, so they didn't really score a lot. Duke, an 80-66, also a fairly good defensive team. I'm going to go under here. Duke played a 54-51 game. NC State played a 67. So you got teams giving up 50 points. We're going under. I'm not going to lock anything, but I would say this is probably a good bet. Purdue, Tennessee. Tennessee is a 79-67 team. Purdue's an 84-70 team. So you would think you'd get, at least in the 70s, is a 150. So that's a good over, Purdue, Tennessee. UConn, I think you take UConn, go UConn, beat Navy, and then Clemson, Alabama. You can't trust Alabama here. I'm going over 164 because Alabama's an over team. And even against North Carolina, it was 89-87. And I didn't trust my go over team. That's what we have. We've got the early game, Illinois and Connecticut, and I think we got to go with Connecticut. I just think they're so much better. And then Alabama, Clemson should be the tight game and a high-scoring game. And either of them are going to get killed by Connecticut. And then we got Duke. So I would say Duke and Purdue against Connecticut, probably Alabama. Nick Saban's last game, right? Just because he's retired from football doesn't mean he still can't retire from basketball. So now, please don't bet a lot of money on this. I am not as skilled in this as I am in football, but I can use my same theories, such as Alabama and over team, to come up with this. But for what it's worth, that's what I like. Alabama over, Connecticut, Duke under. Duke under, and Purdue, Tennessee over. I would say Duke under is probably the best play on the board. That I would bet some money on. Although I did lose with the Purdue Gonzaga over, but I did hit the Duke Houston under. So I'm about 50%, a little bit higher here. Again, there's no teasers, and I don't know every player like I do in football. Every player, every coach. So that's where we're at. Pro football. We went through the draft many times, what the teams need. We can do that again if you'd like. Basically, you're looking at, there's 4 things teams need. And the only team that has them, well, there's 2 teams, KC and San Francisco. They got the strong defense. They got the good quarterback. They got the good running back. And they got the good receiver. And so when you're looking to draft, where are they weak? And that's what you're looking at. So Detroit's weak on the defense. Other teams, a lot of teams tend to take offense for some reason. The Lions have been one of those teams for years and years, and that's why they never win. They had Stafford, so they always get the receiver, maybe the running back, and never the defense, and never the coach. And same thing now. Adequate quarterback, good scheme in the running back and the receivers, and no defense and no coach. When your coach costs you the championship game and the trip to the Super Bowl, because he's got his head up his ass for going for it on 4th down, not once but twice, and wants to tie the game, that's a no-brainer. You tie the game. What was the game I was where they did that? They didn't take the points, and then I can't remember the game. It was an old Steeler game or college game. I don't know. But when you get a chance to take the points and tie the game, you take the points and tie the game. He didn't do it against Dallas, and it cost him. I don't care what happened with the lineman eligible and the ref, but that's the problem. If you just kick your extra point, you don't have those problems. And then you go to – so this guy, I don't think understands how to coach, right? The Lions coach. I think he knows how to motivate. Come on and play and, but I don't think he knows how to coach, right? And you need a coach. That's like running the government. These guys have no idea how to run the government. They're running it into the ground. They're certainly running the money into the ground. So you got to be careful who you have. So in the NFL, we got the draft coming up in a couple of weeks. And the mistakes that are going to be made is overvaluing Drake May and J.J. McCarthy, who are not good players. I watched, I looked at the box score of the Washington-Michigan game. The kid in the big game, they ran for 4 touchdowns, and he threw for 140 yards. Didn't have a good game at all. And this is the problem with him. He's not a good quarterback. If he was a good quarterback, they wouldn't have ran for 4 touchdowns. They would have thrown for 4 touchdowns. Oh, I know what I want to do. I don't have it open. I'll do it tomorrow. I was looking at the college and seeing where players went. But part of the problem is it still shows Penix and Bo Nick. It's like looking at this year's statistics, but they have it where they show Van Dyke on Wisconsin now. So it gives us a little bit. Uglia Buglia is on Florida State. Poor Florida State. What are they watching? I don't get what you're watching. And if you paid that guy any money to go to Florida State, that you're idiots. Uglia Buglia is not a good quarterback. We've seen that. He was at Clemson. He cost them. They're not good anymore because he killed them. Goes to Oregon State, does nothing. So what can I say? Uglia Buglia at Florida State. Cam Ward from Washington State's at Miami. Good luck there. On the most inefficient coaching staff in the whole country. I can't believe the coach kept his job. Let's see. It's 4th and we got 30 seconds. We got 35 seconds left. Let's run the ball instead of taking a knee against Georgia Tech, and we lose the game. And then you let the defense, you let them beat you on a Hail Mary where your guys are out of position. The whole coaching staff needs to go. I don't understand why you have them. I guess part of it is because you signed these idiots. You're stupid enough to sign them to 5-year contracts. And when you see they can't play and they got 3 years left on the contract, what do? You still fire them because you shouldn't give anybody a 5-year contract. I'll give you a year, prove it. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. I get somebody else who wants to prove it. I get asked that a lot. I'll get, well, can you work 6 months and then hire? Well, they just want to see that you're real. And I go, I got a freaking master's. What do you think? How do you think I worked 4 years at Mercedes if I was an idiot? The Germans get rid of you in 5 seconds. If I would have said I know Excel and I didn't know Excel, I'd be gone. It wouldn't take 20 minutes. So if you don't know what you're doing, you don't work at these places, and you don't work at them for 4 years if they don't like you. So unless you're a complete idiot, you should just look at that job and go, yeah, this is it. This is the guy. So the other thing I'm noticing on jobs is a lot of defense contractors. A lot of these defense contractors are there. Have you ever worked for a defense contractor? I don't want to work for the government. It's all corrupt. I don't want to be corrupt and get fingered for it's my fault that the nuke went off or any of that crap. All right. So in the NFL, we have to look at you have to have 4. And so quarterback, running back, receiver, and defense. Okay. To me, offensive lineman is way overvalued. You don't need them in the first round. You don't really need a good offensive line, just an average one. You can get guys out of Notre Dame and Michigan in the 5th round who are good. I mean, can you tell the difference between an Alabama offensive lineman, a Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, a Notre Dame, a Penn State, a Purdue, USC, Oregon, Washington? Are you telling me that anybody's better than anybody else? No, they're all, any of the starters are good linemen, or they wouldn't be starters. So to waste a first round pick and a guy from Ohio State when you can get a 3rd round pick and a guy from Oregon. Problem is the running backs and receivers you can get in the first round are much different than you can get in the 3rd or 4th round. But even that, the Rice kid from SMU went to Kansas City, looked pretty good anyway, although there's a lot of flops. The Green Bay guys look pretty good. I'm sure they're late round picks. So it's just having your scope on what type of player you want. I think that's the bottom line, is understanding the player, who you want. Things like that. That I think is the key, is knowing the type. You want a type of player who wants to play because he loves the game, not for the money. I'll get you. There's one thing I was watching on YouTube this morning where all these politicians are rich because they're insider trading on stocks. And the question came up, what are they doing? They should know not to do insider trading or not to mess with stocks if they're in the government. And they don't, and nobody says anything. They're all rich, and they're going, why are they rich? You don't make any money in the government. Because they're there for the money. They're not there to serve the people. So they're there for the wrong ideas. And it's the whole system needs to be blown up. It doesn't work. I think, well, the government was set up in 1776 properly. And I think we should use those guidelines. We should use the Constitution. Gold and silver is money, no central bank. I agree with all that. Free trade, low taxes, and the government should represent us. But I think what's missing is you need to limit the terms. You're not, what is Biden there, 50 years? That's not the point of it. You should have one term to serve your fellow man, to make sure the government's running smoothly. But all this power, you've got it right with the president, 2 terms, but the rest of the guys should be on term limits. But they won't vote themselves. See, that's the whole problem. They won't vote themselves term limits. So they keep getting reelected. If the elections are real or fixed, they're probably all fixed. And it's ridiculous. And then they're in power to get votes. So they don't want a gold standard because they want to print more money, and they want to buy your vote. I'll give you money, vote for me. I'll give you money. That's not the point. That's not why you're running. That's why it should be one term and you're out. And then only real people that really care about the government and really care about keeping it a good country would do it. I mean, my fear is all these people coming in from the border are sort of like the guys that attacked Russia. They're CIA, they're military, they're units that need to not be allowed in. And they're kind of, I saw a bunch of Chinese. Where you think these guys are making egg rolls? I mean, these guys are all terrorists. You've got all these other countries coming in, all these terrorists coming in, and they're just, all of a sudden, you're going to see what happened in Moscow. You're going to see movies blown up and malls blown up, and what are we going to do? So they're ruining the money. They're taxing us too high, but because they're running the money, and the people in charge aren't doing anything about these outside people like the Gates and the Zuckerbergs and the buffets, who are not supposed to be setting policy. And this war going on, what the hell is this doing? So it's all very inefficient. It's all by people who don't want to be there. So they just are there for the money. They're not there for the real purpose of running the government. And I think that's the thing with these football players. Any of these athletes, if they're there for the money and not because they love it, they should. Then I wouldn't draft them. So when I'm looking for players, I'm going to look for players who want to play. A lot of these Georgia guys, not the Alabama guys, they're there for the money. The Georgia guys, the LSU guys, the Chases, the Jeffersons, those are the guys, Joe Burrow, those type are what you're looking for. Bo Nix, Penix, Cam Rising, he hurt his knee. Now he's going to play this year. I want that guy. And that's the problem. Most of these teams, they take like this Steve Young on Carolina. He sucks. He's there for the money. He went to Alabama. You only go to Alabama because you want the money, because they pay you probably better than they do in the pros. Oh, your mom. Yeah, well, give your mom a house. Okay, I'll go to Alabama. I mean, it's just. I'm glad Saban's gone. Hopefully, the cheating will go away. But it's not good. I'm surprised the Washington coach was stupid enough to go there instead of going to the Seattle Seahawks. But this is the problem. So Georgia, I think they go to because they actually want to win. These are studs, right? So this is the problem why I say don't draft from Alabama. They don't care. They're always injured. I mean, everyone's always injured from Alabama. And now they're drafting way too many players from Alabama who are no good. Look at this receiver, Wilson from Alabama on the Lions. He stinks. He can't run a route. Oh, he's fast. Oh, yeah, we can't find fast guys. But the guy can't catch. And then he's always injured. So what a mistake. He doesn't look like Chase or Jefferson, does he? Those are number one. Those are first round draft picks, right? They don't look like Chase or Jefferson. They're not first round draft picks. So with that said, that's one of the things. So you want a quarterback who's smart, not who can throw a lot. I don't want Drake May. He's not a good quarterback. I don't want Lamar. I want Mahomes, he gets hurt, he's still playing. Joe Burrow. Those type of quarterbacks is what you want. Look for San Diego with Harbaugh this year. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're just going to run the ball because they got rid of their receivers. They kept their defense and got rid of Keenan Allen. What are you doing, Harbaugh? I question Harbaugh. He's really a stupid coach like his brother. So they'll play a good defense. He'll probably play Michigan football. He'll run the ball. He'll probably draft the Michigan running back, but he doesn't need him. He got rid of all the high talent. Keenan Allen, Williams, Eckert. And he got his defensive players to take pay cuts. Bosa and Khalil Mack. So we'll see what he does. Herbert's the real deal. So that'll be good. But that's the thing you want. I question his ability to coach. He always has trouble in special teams. Cost him like 5 championships. The only good thing he beat Ohio State 3 years in a row. But that's what Seattle got, was Richard Sherman and those guys. They played because they love to play. And that's really what you need. You need that type of player, but you need that passion in everything, right? So as Bobby said, I give it to you here, but I give you the truth and passion, which is hard. A lot of people don't want to tell the truth. They're afraid to tell the truth. That's why we're stoic here. So that's what you want, is you want a team full of Richard Shermans. You want a team full of strong-minded players. And those are the guys that won't choke. They'll meet the talents. That's what you got in Burrow and Mahomes. So that's what you're looking for. The close I see is Bo Nix and Penix and Daniels. I see those guys. Rising has it. Not Drake May, not JJ McCarthy, not Caleb. Oh my God, the guy cried. You want me to believe he's got passion, he's gonna win it for us, and he cried? I'd take Jake Hagener over Caleb in a heartbeat. I don't know what they're doing with Jake Hagener in New Orleans. You got Derek Carr. I'm sorry, I watched Derek Carr in college. I watched Jake Hagener because you get those Fresno State late games. I'd take Hagener by a mile over Carr. I like Carr in college, but Haener's better. The problem is New Orleans and Tampa are stupid. You've got two strong quarterbacks. You've got your better guy on the bench. You need to trade Carr. You need to trade Mayfield. Trask and Haener are the better quarterbacks. Hooker is the better quarterback. But because they haven't played, because if you won't play them, they won't get experience, but you will take Blaine Gabbert because he's played before, or half of these let's look at these week 17: Stick, Browning, Mullins and Hall, Stroud and Levis. Who the hell's this guy? Beathard, Howell, Tyrod Taylor, O'Connell. I mean, give me a break. These guys are so much better. These are guys playing in the league. Are you insane? So I don't really get that at all. That they don't these quarterbacks that are sitting at ball. Well, they haven't played before. What kind of excuse? Didn't you see him in college? Didn't you see Hooker beat Alabama? Didn't you see Haener beat, what was it, USC or UCLA? Didn't you see Stenson Benson win 2 national titles? And you're worried about and Trask at Florida. He lit up Alabama for 45 points. Are you not? Or that doesn't count. That was college. But then we'll take Drake May because it was college. And why are you looking at this NFL, Dre? This mini camp, this NFL. Let's see how fast he runs the 40 and all that crap. That's not anything to do with football. I don't know what that is. I assume it's some TV shit. You want to watch Drake May against Clemson. Watch Drake May against Florida State. They're North Carolina. Watch him against Duke. You want to see what type of player he is, watch him in a game. Don't watch him in this little skills test of how fast he can run a 40 or how far he can throw the ball. Absolutely meaningless. How does he do when there's a pass rush on, and can he read the freaking secondary and read a blitz and know what to do with the blitz when he gets it? Look at Josh Allen. He's got a strong arm. That's about it. Doesn't have a brain in his head. Not a good quarterback. So that's the type of player you want. Kind of a stoic player, right? He's tough, a team guy, but he'll do whatever to win. He's not there for the money. The money's secondary. Like me, when I go to work, I'm there to make money to buy gold. I'm not there for the money. I'm there to enjoy it. And if I can't enjoy it, I tell them to fuck off. So like at Toyota in Alabama, I went there to make money for gold. And hopefully this is my Daria. I miss her terribly. Sorry about that. It's not Daria, it's Jenna. And that's the frustration part, right? You're waiting for Daria and it's Jenna, and you're happy you get from Jenna, but you're like, I think my biggest thing being logical is going, why isn't Daria saying good morning? Yesterday she was relaxing, going for shoes, and that's the last I've heard of her. Today I assume she's working. Anyway, so that's so in Alabama though, there was a comment. There was a comment at the idiot job I had here working for Madoff, and it was like the guy was talking about bonuses. If you do this, you'll get a bonus. And I flat out said, I'm not here for the money. I don't work for the bonus. I work for myself. I work for the satisfaction of getting the job done right. I have pride. He didn't understand that. He thinks people are motivated by money. I'm not motivated by money. However, at Toyota, I was unmotivated by, they lied. The job was supposed to pay 105, it paid 95. And I took the job and I was very pissed off because the guy said 105. So I talked to him about it. And then I thought, okay, I'll get the travel will be 10,000. And then they screwed me there. They took taxes out. I got 7,500. And so I basically was very like, you lied to me. You don't lie to me. I'm not here for the money, but I didn't like I was trapped there for 2 years because if you take a relocation, they don't let you, you got to pay it back. Oh, fuck you. I'm not paying it back. You gave me a reload so I could work for you. Why would I come back? Is this Daria? Probably Jenna. It's Jenna. I'll have to watch that later. Anyway, so when the guy says we'll give you a bonus, if you do X and Y, there's a bonus in it. I'm not here for I'll work hard because you're paying me. I'm not going to work harder for a bonus because I work harder anyway. I work at a very high level, just like I do the football picks, right? If I have one customer or 100, I'm doing the same job. I'm picking for me personally so I can say I picked 80%. And you can see my results. I had a hell of a year. But I don't get any more if somebody said, well, I'll double your pay if you pick me, X and Y. I would turn it down because I'm going to do the best because I have pride, pride and poise. I'm a Raider. Pride and poise. I'm going to do the best because I always do the best of everything I do. That's the bottom line. I don't work harder for money. However, I want to get paid properly. So we figure out the salary. Okay. Then I work and I work hard. If you give me less salary, I'll still work hard. But if somebody makes me a better offer, I'll leave because I'm a businessman. Right. So this is the point when somebody says, oh, I'll give you a bonus if you do this. I tell them I'm not here for the money. That's not why I'm here for the passion. But if you treat me wrong, I'll blow you up. That's what I did at Toyota. I didn't really care. That's what I did at Madoff. I didn't really care. So I'm working at Madoff. You are supposed to transfer me to an office. You didn't. You're supposed to clean up the place. It's a mess. It's a pigsty. It's filthy. And they keep walking in from the back room, and it's filthy. I saw no filth at all at Mercedes, right? And there was a whole plant, and they're making all these things. There wasn't oil all over the place. There wasn't all these problems. The whole place was oil and dirt and the carpet. I didn't want to work there. I'm going to die of cancer because I'm working in a pigsty. So, yeah, they lied to me. Okay. So I didn't give a fuck. I really didn't. I tried to do it, but I didn't have the capacity. I still tried to do the inventory. It's not like I just sat there, but it was all manual because there was no inventory in the thing. So I still worked hard, but I didn't work anymore for a bonus or not, but I didn't like that you lied to me. So these kids upstairs are like on drugs or something. They running around. It's like, dudes, hey, we live in an apartment. There's people below you. Stop doing that shit. Anyway, but that's the type of player you want. You want the type of player who I'll work hard for the bonus, but I'm really working hard because I work hard anyway. If you gave me no bonus, I'd work hard. And now it's becoming too much of the players want to play for the money, not because they want to play. That's the problem with this NIL. The NIL is more. Cam Roy gets $1 million to go to Miami, and Uglia Buglia gets $1 million to go to Florida State. Why are you paying these third stringers all this money? You watch Uglia Buglia get drafted, and you'll just laugh. You're like, what the fuck are you drafting this guy for? He's terrible. It's like Drake May. Why are you drafting Drake May? Why is he even mentioned in the first round? Why is he mentioned at all? Drake May is not a good quarterback. If he was, North Carolina would have won the ACC. Jordan Travis at Florida State is a good quarterback because they won the ACC. That's the difference. The problem is Jordan Travis is not a smart person. Instead of getting your yards and sliding like all the good quarterbacks do, he decides to keep running, and then he gets his ankle turned around, and he's never going to play again. Why didn't you slide? Did you need the extra 2 yards? You'd run for 20 yards on the play. This is the problem, these quarterbacks. Richardson at Indy shows no intelligence. You hurt your shoulder. Are you not sliding? What are you doing? Why are you running and not sliding? This isn't college. This is the pros. It took Lamar, 6 years to figure out to get out of bounds or slide. Josh Allen still hasn't figured it out. He's just waiting for an injury. He's an idiot. I mean, when I look at him, I see no brain cells at all. Anybody that doesn't slide, just take your yards and slide. You're not going to run it in. That's not part of the game. It's not part of the play. You're just scrambling around because you're too stupid to find the receiver open. So anyway, that's the problem with the NFL, and that's the problem with college now. It's all based on money. Oogly boogly. Why? Before he never would have left Clemson. Now he goes to Oregon State, and the coach leaves to go to Michigan State. Michigan State, I don't know. I don't think they'll get much better. Prime time, he just gets all, so his kid can play. He went to Colorado so Prime Junior could play. That's it. That's the only reason. And then he'll go get a pro job so he can draft his son. I love it. That's like Little League. I love it. So I mean, this is the problem, and this is where I'm headed toward is the corruption, and they're there for the wrong reason. We see the whole government's corrupted. So I'm going to play this piece. It's a very short piece on corruption in the government. So there's this piece about insider trading.
Just stocked up on a ton of Paleo Valley beef sticks.
Nobody cares. Shut the fuck up.
I'm always amazed by the financial disclosures. And again, since this is the last question, but since no one else talks about it, I will. And you see these.
I'm not a Tucker Carlson person.
No, some cases they're clever, maybe even smart. Some cases they're just pretty ordinary, actually. And they're so rich relative to the mean. Oh, yeah. Does anyone, and I have no idea how they know that money. I have no clue at all how Nancy Pelosi is just so rich, or how her stock picks are like way better than Warren Buffett's. Like, how does that happen? Yeah. But does anyone ever talk about that internally, like on the Hill?
No, because most of them benefit from it. I love these like accounts on X and on Instagram that pop up now that are actually tracking. Yeah. I don't know how they do it. I really don't know how they figure it out, but they are tracking what she's buying and what other members of Congress are buying.
Nancy Pelosi's stock tracker?
Oh, yeah. That's definitely one of them. It's but they're like, hey, everybody, pay it. It is. It's incredible to see. And when you watch that, and I'm so glad for the transparency that they're providing to people in real time almost, but it's no wonder why she and others, Democrats and Republicans, who could very easily pass the legislation that says no member of Congress or the Senate or their spouse or their senior staff should be allowed to trade in stocks, period, full stop. It's such an obvious way to stop even the perception, if you want to claim like innocence or whatever. There should be no perception that our elected leaders are profiting off of the knowledge that they have as policymakers that directly impact industry and businesses. That's a no-brainer to me. I introduced legislation when I was in Congress to do that. Many people have since then. There's been a lot of talk and conversation. Why hasn't it gone anywhere? That's why, because they profit off it. So they don't, of course they don't want to talk about
that's just an easy one.
It is. And frankly, like, why do they need to be forced? When I'm not some kind of stock trader, but when I was like 23 and 24, I had like $5,000 in my savings account. I was like, okay, cool. Let me learn a little bit about stocks. I put some money in some stocks. I don't remember how they did, but I knew immediately, like going into Congress, perception is reality.
Yes.
And so it doesn't matter like, well, I've had this stock for 15 years or whatever. It doesn't even matter what it is. I got rid of, I did not participate in anything related to stocks or stock trading or buying or selling or anything for the entire time that I was in Congress. And it's not some like, oh, look at me, I'm so great. It's just common sense that we have people in great positions of power. Why should they be forced to do something with the passage of a law? Why don't they just do the right thing and say, you know what? We get that even an innocent thing could be perceived as insider trading. We're just not going to go there.
Because it's too lucrative to give up.
And they know they can get away with it.
Now, so what is that? That tells me, and this is what we've been talking about, is they're there for the wrong reason. They're there to represent us is the idea. That's what the whole government is. Instead of having a king or a queen or a jack or any of these cards, you have people, you have a president-elect, and you have all these congressmen and senators elected to your, so if you're in Florida, you elect your guy, and Wisconsin elects his guy, in Washington and Pittsburgh and everything else. And that's the idea. They represent these people. And since there's 50 states, there's 50 different groups who want different things. What's important in Texas is not what's important in Michigan and Minnesota and Ohio and Georgia. So this is the idea, how it became this corrupt. Oh, let's make money on stocks. That's not why you're elected. You're not elected to make money. You're elected to represent us. And you're not supposed to use insider knowledge to make money, which is what Pelosi was doing. And I'm sure she's, and this is the problem. Then when JP Morgan prints money, they'll put it in the stocks, and she knows what stocks they're putting it in. So it's all bullshit. She doesn't know what she's doing. It's this thing. You're betting on a race that's already been won, basically. So This is the problem with government. We're in two wars that we don't belong in either. They're there so we can sell weapons, give money to the corrupt Ukrainians, and I don't know what's happening, and all the Middle East is against Israel, and they're all combining, and Russia's there. So in Africa, it's now Russia against the U.S. is still trying to keep troops there, or France, and we're trying to steal their resources. I mean, what are we doing there? We're the Americans. That's it. That's I live in Michigan. I don't care about what happens in Florida or California or whatever. So anyway, I saw that. We had talked about Egon yesterday. This is a good one to watch. Douglas McGregor about the war. He tells the truth, supposedly. Seems like it. This Thomas Sowell is a very good, explains things extremely well. And then, of course, Egon with our economics, who basically we walked through yesterday, if you want to get a hold of that. There's a big problem of truth, right? What's real and what's fake? I still think, okay, this mall bombing in Moscow is still about the U.S. not wanting Russia to go on the gold standard. We killed Gaddafi and we killed Saddam Hussein because they were trying to have gold-backed currency. So I'm sure they still don't want Russia to have gold-backed currency, but they're going to have it. And I still think that's what's going on here. It's the only thing that makes sense. Everything else doesn't make sense. And yet we don't have troops. Russia kill us in a war. They're not going to nuke because they know that's the end. And they're not going to, it's a stupid conclusion. Nobody's going to nuke anybody. It's the fact that they have it. That's what a nuke is. I have a nuke. I'm never going to use it, but I have it. So that's going to scare you into doing things, right? So this is the problem. Again, Egon or Bitcoin, we see that the same. That's a Ponzi scheme. How do these Ponzi schemes happen, and why do people go with them? We've talked about is really the trust and the comfort. So you don't know Madoff, Jesus Christ. You don't know Madoff, but your friend is in with Madoff. And so you join because your friend's in, not because you know Madoff, which is the first mistake. If you're not comfortable asking Madoff, how are you doing it, or getting an answer to that question, if nobody can give you the answer to that question, you can't play. So in other words, I play craps. So now you want to play craps because I play craps. Well, you better ask, how do you play it? How do you win? What's the object? And if I can't answer it, you don't play it. And I'm not doing it without knowing everything about it. That's how I do everything. I know everything about it. That's why I do it. So that's really what the point is. So you're comfortable with your friend or your cousin or your relative, and if they do something, so if they jump off the bridge, you're going to jump off the bridge. So all these relatives in Madoff, what you need to do is understand why you in Madoff, how you making money, and if they can't explain it. So like I said, my brother-in-law was in Madoff. He said, well, I don't really know, but it's something to do with strip malls and getting 15%. And I said, you can't. It's not possible because that's not what the interest rates are. Sorry. Even though he was in it, I didn't play because the way he explained it, there's no way you can make money in it. And I could tell that. I mean, it's got to make the story. That's why I explain so much. When I give you a pick, even today's games, I'm explaining it. Like, we're betting KC because of Mahomes and the defense. Okay, that's why. That makes sense. And I'm telling you today, I can't really explain it except for they have Connecticut's a good offensive team with a good defense. They're an A team versus what Connecticut's playing Illinois. And Illinois is the 3 seed, so I really can't explain it much more than Connecticut's the best team. Not as strong as I can do football because I don't really know the dynamics of Connecticut and the dynamics of Illinois. So I'm warning you, be careful. Just so you can have some enjoyment. If you're watching, bet very small. And I'm telling you that. But when I bet football and I'm giving you Mahomes to win the Super Bowl, yeah, then you better bet it. And then you understand why. It's not that you trust me, but I'm telling you the basics of the bet. And that's what you need in a Madoff situation and in anything, the Attack on Wall Street guy. All these movies, it's the same thing. Understanding it. I was listening to something, and it was all the reason of the housing crisis was there was 2 politicians that passed a law that said you have to give loans to low-income people, Barney Frank and somebody else. And I don't know where that is. It might have been in this Thomas Sowell one, but anyway, so they passed a law that the banks had to give loans to low-income people so they could afford a house. Well, they can't afford a house. They don't make the money to afford a house. It's not a gift. It's you can afford to buy, golf clubs, you buy them. If you can't afford them, you don't have money, you can't buy them. It's as simple as that. So they're letting people with no income buy houses, and you wonder why it crashed. So anyway, I don't know where that is, but we don't need to hear somebody else say it. I just said it was Barney Frank and somebody else passed a law forcing banks to give loans to people with no income. Then you wonder why you have this big crisis in 2000. So this was like 1997, 98. And then you wonder why you have the housing crisis in 2008. They caused it. This is why it's very important to listen to Adam Smith and have the invisible hand and not let the government interfere. Just keep it. In other words, if I'm selling the Mahomes card, you got to have the $5,000 to buy it. If you don't have the $5,000 to buy it, keep the government out of it. Don't force me to sell him, and then he's going to pay me later. Oops, he can't because he doesn't make any money. No. I sell it. He gives me the money, and then I give him the card. He's got to give me the money first. So what you're doing is saying, well, you got to sell the Mahomes card to somebody who doesn't work, has no money, and he'll pay you later. And then, oops, he can't pay you. Well, I gave him the Mahomes card. See, that's why you need the government out of it. It's just free market. Give me the money, I'll give you the card. That's how the free market works, and that's not what happens with houses. You're selling a house to a guy with no money, and you wonder why he can't afford to pay you back. Why are you selling? And then the government basically forced them was going to sue the banks for not doing the loans. What are you kidding me? That's your buddy Jimmy Clinton, who kind of forced these people into, you got to sell it to them. Everybody's got to own a house, and this is where government runs into problems. So in their mind, the liberals are thinking, oh, it's so nice, rainbows and lollipops, everybody will own a house. Well, it's not for everybody. It's only for people with money who can afford it. If you don't have money and you can't afford it, you can't have a house. It's not personal, it's business. And business says, I'm selling something for $100,000 and you can make a 30-year mortgage. if you can afford it, if you're working. And if you're not and you can't afford it, and you're not working, then you can't have it. I mean, it's as simple as that. So when government interferes, that's it. So you have a lot of government interference. Now you have government interference in the stock market and in gold and all this stuff. Why are they interfering? Well, if you let the gold price go up, they'll know the dollar's no good. Well, why don't you stop inflating the dollar? What are you, a bunch of idiots? A bunch of children? Yeah, we're gonna fill the bathtub with water and not stop it, and wonder why the water will overflow out of the bathtub. Maybe try turning the water off. So that's really the problem with it. So they interfere with gold, and then we pick it up and we go, they interfere with gold. Should we buy it? That's our first question. We know it's being interfered with. We know it's being fixed. We know the stock market's being fixed. We know they're putting money into the stock market. It's really not as high as it shows. Should we buy the stock because it's not free market? It's fixed by the government putting money into it when it doesn't deserve it. So the government is interfering with gold and silver. So should we buy it knowing it's the government's interfering? And the only reason we did is because here's BRICS, who's coming out with the gold-backed currency, and that's what the problem is. So BRICS is sitting there. BRICS is they're competing, blocking the government to interfere with gold and silver. So BRICS can't do it anymore, right? The government, JP Morgan, can't keep interfering with the price of gold and silver. So yes, for a long time they did interfere and and even though they tried to keep the price down, it still got to 2,000 an ounce. But they can't interfere anymore. And then there's laws that were passed that said you can't interfere. And if you do interfere, you got to have the physical gold backing it up instead of 10% of the physical gold to control 90% of paper gold. So you're trying to control, you're trying to control 50,000 ounces of gold with 5,000 ounces. No, you can't. These people, Rick Rude and his partner Sprout, should be in jail for misleading the public into believing they have physical gold in there. Because you think you actually hold physical gold. You don't have any, and you shouldn't be buying an ETF. ETFs are losers. I played an ETF once, thought, oh, this is good. It's a electronic transfer fund or whatever, and exchange transfer fund. I don't know. I don't really care. And gold went up like $50. I thought, oh, I must have made a fortune because I'm in it 2 or 3 times. I made like $100. Like, this is a Ponzi. I'm better off buying the gold or buying the gold stock than I am in an ETF. And I love how they keep trying to put you in these mutual funds or things where there's 100 stocks and it'll go up instead of, aren't they smart enough to pick one stock and watch it go up and go, oh, we just made money in our Coca-Cola or something? No, we need 50 stocks because it's so corrupt. So keep that in mind. The government interference. So they interfere with a lot of stuff and they shouldn't be interfering. That's not their role to interfere in gold and silver, yet they do it. That's a problem. If they would just do what they're supposed to do. So they're like a football team that cheats. Well, we're supposed to only get 4 downs, but you know what? Gosh darn it, we're going to get 5 downs or 6 downs or 7 downs. And you know what? Your touchdown doesn't count. We're not going to count it. Ours, I know we only gained 8 yards and it's 4th down and we went for it. We didn't get it, but you know what? We're going to count it. We're going to say we got it. So they're playing with these stupid rules and they're interfering with the game. So they're interfering with gold and silver. which is why silver isn't going up yet, but gold is starting to move very fast, is because they can't interfere with gold anymore. They've changed the laws where you can only have it if you hold it, and then if somebody buys it from you, you have to sell it to them. So you don't want to be in gold betting it's going down when it's going to the moon. So they're just about done interfering, which is why you see gold go up $150 the last week and a half, and now it's 22.33. So you start seeing that, seeing what's happening. And that's the point, right? So that's the question. Why should I remember my barbecue friend going, why should I buy gold? Why is it going to move now? And I said, bricks. Because now you have competition with the government. Government wants to be monopoly. That's JP Morgan. That's the problem. Monopolies are terrible. The only monopoly that should be there is like the utilities, the heat and the electric, because it's too costly to have competition because it's such a huge expense. But that's why you regulate it, and you look at it and go, okay, you can charge $82 per kilowatt hour or something like that. My problem is when they start talking, well, we won't have electricity, or we won't have money, or this. These people have no idea how it works. So you expect the utility company who paid all this money to just go out of business? Do you expect Costco and Target and Myers and Walmart's to just go out of business? Oh, there won't be any food. Bullshit, there won't be any food. You don't think they're out there making sure there's food? Come on. You don't think the Delmontes and the Heinz are making sure they have food? They're not idiots. These are billion-dollar companies. They're not just going to go out. Maybe in the small happening in Venezuela, they still got food there. So you're telling me they're going to blow up all the food? Who, the Americans or the Chinese or George Soros? I don't think that's a possibility at all. I think our medium of exchange will come out with a new fiat dollar for a while, and that won't work. And then hopefully they're buying gold as it goes, or hopefully we can get on the BRICS gold-backed currency and at least have sound money. The key to a football game is the quarterback and the defense, and the key to the country is strong money and a good defense, and that's the key to it, right? It's always about strong money, and yet every country in the world doesn't have strong money but Zimbabwe. It's insane. So that's why they're all like, I heard Egon talk about China. Oh, they got problems. No, they don't, because they'll just switch to gold. I mean, these guys don't get it. Gold becomes the medium of exchange as it was in the Romans. They didn't have a problem when they had gold and silver. So you just switch your medium of exchange from paper dollars. Yes, paper's going out, but China's got 60,000 tons of gold. They're going to switch to a gold standard. Why is this so hard to understand? I guess because they don't have economics backgrounds, but that's the key to it. So you go there. So that's why you really don't want, that's why you want the invisible hand. You just want things to work. You want a normal football game that's not fixed. You want stocks that aren't fixed. You want gold that's not fixed. Free market. That's why you want it, because when they start interfering with it, it's always trouble. They interfered with the housing market and they caused it to blow up in 2008 because they made them take loans for people that should never have gotten any because they can't pay. They don't make any money to pay it back. And if you get any type of recession, they're going to get laid off. They're going to have this house and say, here, you can have your house back. I can't afford it. And then when the interest rates start going up, they all get screwed, which is what happened. So the rates went up in 2007 and they couldn't afford it. And then by 2008, our guys, Jeremy Irons, is saying, oh, the music stopped. You stopped the music. You started the music. It's your fault that there is music or no music, is because you allowed these loans. Now, you didn't have a choice because they made you. I would not have put them into real estate trust. and let the attack on Wall Street guy have some, like it's a good investment. I mean, you got to be kidding. Now, you should have explained to the attack on Wall Street guy what's going on. You don't then go through with the charade and not inform the people, and then, yeah, they're going to be pissed. And how are they going to trust you? That's the biggest key in business is trust. You pay me for my games because you trust that I know what I'm doing. And you come and listen to my picks because you trust me, because I can explain. And I'm one of the few in the world that can explain to the level of detail that makes sense and happens. And it happens a lot. And that's what that's the problem with it. So that's what you got to understand. So you got to really dig in. Like here, why would these CIA guys bomb Moscow? Because they don't want them on the gold standard. It's simple when you use logic to figure out the motive for it. They didn't just randomly go into a movie and start shooting people. They killed 131. So they didn't just randomly do that. There was a reason for it. And unfortunately, that's the problem. So you've got to think. But so that's the point about it. You don't do things for money. You do it for passion, and you do it for pride. So all these elected officials shouldn't even be there. If they're not running to help their constituent and help their state, they shouldn't be there. If I'm representing Michigan, I shouldn't be there if I'm going to be corrupt, I'm going to take bribes. I mean, if I was there, I'd be telling these people to go shove it up their ass. I ain't voting for your shit if it means raising taxes, if it means blocking gold. That you're not getting my vote. You don't like it? Too bad. I'm elected by the people in Michigan, and they don't like it, then they won't reelect me. I don't really give a fuck because I can do more damage picking football than anybody can. So this is why it's hard to run for election. Too much politics and too much your you have to vote for things you would never vote for, and then you close your eyes to all the corruption. Yeah, everybody's taking these stocks. No, I'd still be buying gold, right? Then they want to get a few people want to let's get the gold standard. Everybody shoots it down, and I'd be like irate. Well, we're all going broke with your method. I'm trying to save you, but hey, if you don't want to be saved, I'm moving to a BRICS country. See you later. It's ridiculous. Argentina, you think they're smart? They're supposed to be in BRICS. They get a BRICS to stay with the U.S. because the U.S. offers them a bribe, and then let's see how that works. Oh, you have massive inflation still. Oh, you're not going to be on the gold standard. Okay, well, good luck. The great president who's a fraud. And all this war, again, it's government interference. Government is not there to interfere. This is the biggest problem. And I know we don't like talking about government because it's so inefficient and such a problem and so much corruption. I mean, they're there for the wrong reason. They're not there to make money on stocks that they're fixing by printing money and putting it in the stocks, which is another reason they don't want the gold standard. They're on the gold standard. They can't print money to make stocks. What they miss is that the money they make is worthless. So if they do make a lot of money on stocks and it's in dollars, it's monopoly money. So they're fighting to keep that monopoly money alive. And there's nothing they can do. You can fight it, but at the end of the day, it's gone. It's worthless. You can't create it that it ain't worthless, and then you've got all these other things going on. So this is the problem. It's terrible. See, if you really understand, see, that's why they keep you in the dark, right? They control the education. They're interfering with that. It's terrible. If my kids were school age now, I would just homeschool them. Because I don't want them to be a communist. Okay. We've been there. It doesn't work. It's very nasty. They murder a lot of people. It's the last thing we want is my kid to come up and be a communist or a socialist. They should believe in gold and understand freedom. And they can be an individual and work hard and you're free not to do these things wrong. So anyway, I don't remember everything in my title, but I think I hit most of it. So football, basketball, again, gold. We've got the government pretty much out of the interfering stage, which is what I believe after looking at the last week of gold, where they hammered it down to 150 and it went right back up to 180, 190. Then they hammered it down. They could only get it down to 170 because they got to buy these derivatives and you only have so much money. And then when the gold goes up, the derivatives get screwed. And now shoots up to 22.33. I feel that just about out. And that gold, you'll just see it go up and up and up. Silver, because they're still involved interfering it, they're keeping the price down. A lot of it is for the manufacturers. China and these countries and India have solar power and have the need for silver in their as an industrial metal, so they want the price cheap. However, as a money, it is a money, right? Just like gold, the price should be much higher. So you have the money people buying it hand over fist at $25 an ounce, and we're all laughing, going, "This is so cheap." And then the manufacturing sector, who needs the silver to bake car batteries and solar panels and computers and phones, have to have the price at the 25 because they won't be able to afford to make it because there's no substitute for silver. In like the battery in a car has to have silver. It cannot have anything else. So with that said, they got to keep the price down. And so that's the unfortunate part. So we will see there. But eventually it's going to go. But that's why it isn't. And they haven't really COMEXed it to the point like gold where they have to sell it, in 2 days, T plus 2 days, I guess. So if China wants the gold on COMEX, you got to give it to them. That isn't there yet in silver. The government's still interfering, keeping the price down for these companies, more for the companies. And that will blow up, the government interference that's creating this. So understand that government has lost its way. It doesn't understand its role. It's there for the money. It's getting paid off by Tesla, by China to keep the price low. The whole thing. They don't have delivery, so people want delivery. They don't have the silver, and then they're going to the COMEX, to the ETFs, and stealing their silver. Why they're in the silver business, I have no idea. COMEX was not supposed to be for delivery. It was just supposed to be keep the price down. Why are government interfering with the price of gold and silver? So they can print more and they can all steal it. This is the problem with, you got to be careful with who's in charge. You got corrupt people in charge. It's not going to run. That's why you need the invisible hand. But nobody's listening to the realities. Gold standard, no central bank, invisible hand, laissez-faire, leave it alone. If you would just stick to the principles of Adam Smith that we know since 1600, you wouldn't have any of these problems. You'd never have a war. We'd all be way, way better off. You wouldn't have taxes and everybody would be fine with gold. What's wrong with that? So the few politicians are helping the defense contractors make money and killing all these innocent people. And how do they justify it? Why is this war in the Ukraine even there? And why is it still going on when even the Russians don't want it anymore? They're tired of it. They're like, we're not trying to take over Poland or Romania or anywhere. But Biden is again, this is the problem when George Soros elects the people. He gets Biden in, who's 80 years old. An 80-year-old should not be running a 7-Eleven, more or less, a country. Right? So you have that. It's ridiculous. It's sad. Worthless. We're going to see that. When I travel, these dollars better now. My dollar. When I go to Europe, it's going to be a problem. It's already a problem in Berlin, and it was in Barcelona, where they're trying to, I'm trying to get from the ATM $100, and it's like 130, when it shouldn't be. It should be 110. So they're definitely, nobody wants the dollar. It's going out, except for the government wants to keep it because they got all their money in it, and they need to get their money in gold, but they're too stupid to trade it. I mean, they could be 100 times richer if they would just move their money into gold, but they won't listen. They think it'll just keep going and going and going. In other words, I can eat chocolate cake every day and not gain a pound. Never have no problem. I won't gain a pound, and I'll eat chocolate cake, and I won't get sick, and I won't get overweight. Everything will be fine. I mean, it's insane. Anyway, so we got Easter tomorrow, apparently. I'm curious with gold on Monday. Should go to the moon. Should be very, it should open very high in Hong Kong and China and just go. Because keep in mind, China's got 60,000 tons and Russia 30,000 tons. And they want the price to go up. Believe me, they're smart enough to buy it. So now if it goes up, they're happy. Oh, yeah, we got all this, It's like somebody with 1 ounce and somebody with 50 ounces. You got 50 ounces, you want the price to go up. You got 1 ounce, you're like, well, wait, hold on so I can buy a few more ounces. And it's still there. And the key is you want to buy the physical gold. You just want to get more gold. And that's why I was telling the lifeguard yesterday, just buy 1/10 of an ounce or 1/4 ounces. It's fine. You don't need to buy an ounce. Just buy some gold. It'll accumulate. I bought a lot of 1/10 of an ounces lately, and I got an ounce last week. I was happy finally. But that's it. Now I bought less silver. One of the reasons is I got 600 ounces. The other reason is it's still kind of being held down. So the problem when you hear Egon say, well, it's much more, up and down. Can't think of the word. Not variable. I don't know. But it goes up and down a lot. And again, he's looking at paper. There is no gold and silver real price. It's starting to come out in gold. It's not there in silver. It's paper price. So you can't say it goes up and down real quick. Silver, you have no idea. You can't make that comment because we haven't had physical silver price. You got a paper one where they're trying to keep the price down. So they'll print derivatives. That knocks the price down. Nobody's selling. So people are going to be surprised when silver hits $200 an ounce. They're going to go, oh my God, I thought it was a 25. Because they don't understand it's paper price and it's derivatives, and JP Morgan, the government's interfering with the price. They don't get any of that. They think that's the real free market price. And I'm telling you, it's not a free market for gold and silver or for stocks. That's where all these bubbles come in, is the government printing money and putting it in the stock market. That's what a bubble. It's not even a bubble. It's fantasy. They're putting it in. It's like a bet on a football game. Or let's say today, what do we got? We got I can't look. Okay. So Connecticut 8.5, 154. So it'd be like they just keep betting on Connecticut. Now it's at 20.5. Is that in a bubble? No, it's all fake. It wasn't the market that made it go to 20. So if the market's not involved raising it, they're calling it a bubble. Well, it's not a bubble. It's interference. It's government interference making the price too expensive. The free market, and this is the point, the silver has not been in a free market. You can't say, well, it goes up and then it'll come back down. You can't say that because it's not true, because you have no idea. You've never seen a free market in silver or gold for that matter. So you can look at your charts in 2008 and think that's going to help you. But as I know, as I've repeatedly 1,000 times, Tom Brady ain't on New England. You can't use New England's trends anymore. So don't try and don't think, well, this is what New England's going to do. Now you don't even have Belichick there. I don't think New England's going to win a game. I mean, if they draft Drake May or J.J. McCarthy, they'll be up there with Carolina as the stupidest franchise in the world. Steve Young's terrible. Indiana with Richardson, he's terrible. I don't know. Let Minshew go. What are you letting Minshew go? And then Oakland drafts him. What are you doing? Oakland, just trade up for a draft pick and get one of the big 5 quarterbacks. What are you doing? Get Bo Nix. You want Bo Nix or O'Connell or Minshew? I mean, Minshew can't hold a candle to Bo Nix or Penix. These guys are 10 times better than them. And I love how the commentators try to talk you off of Bo Nix and Penix. Well, they might be good. Jesus, did you not watch these games? Are you kidding me? Penix is a super. He was great at Indiana, and then he hurt his knee, and he looked really crappy the next year because they had a bad offensive coordinator. Then he goes to Washington. He's the superstar. Same thing with Bo Nix at Auburn. Who was it, Nick or somebody saying, well, yeah, I remember him at Auburn. He had a bad offensive coordinator, but look at him at Oregon. Look at the game he had against Washington. It was like 35 of 36 for 450 yards and 4 touchdowns. They didn't lose because of him. So, and that's how smart Penix is. Oregon had a great defense, but he knew the matchup, and he worked on one of the quarterbacks or safeties and found 40 points. I mean, that's the difference. Penix could do that against that Oregon defense. Caleb couldn't do it. We know Prime Jr., 44-6, couldn't do it. So that's what you look at is, you've got to understand everything. So really, I try to explain to you so you understand everything, right? Madoff, you needed to ask him, how are you making the money? Because then it's up to you to take this risk, just like Bitcoin. You can get into Bitcoin, you're going to take this huge risk, and it's going to go to zero, but you can believe it's going to go up because you want to make money without doing anything, because that's your nature. Those are the same people that play or in politics for the money, not because they love it or they enjoy it. It's, this is what I love. And that's the problem. And that's really what needs to stop is you need to be in things because you're passionate about it, because that's what you love to do. I want football players who love to play football. But if I'm going to invest, if I'm going to bet football, I want people that want to learn and want to understand it. Same thing with gold and silver. You need to understand it. That's why I kind of do a shake my head when people at the club go, well, it's free market. Oh, yeah, you really understand it. That's why I have a hard time even explaining it to these people, because I got to go into an hour class to explain that it's market is interfered with by the government. I call it price fixed, but that's basically what it is. It's not free market. So when I say free market, it's between me and you. I sell it, you buy it, we figure out a price, and off we go. That's free market. And see, that's the problem. Gold's just starting to get there. Silver is coming around the corner. Be patient. Right now it's being held down for manufacturing. But at the end of the day, people will realize the money's worthless, and they're going to have to get into real money, which will be gold and silver. By that time, gold will be 5,000 an ounce, which they can't afford. So they'll go into silver, which will be $30 an ounce, and drive that up. And then people go, oh, why is silver going up? These commentaries are, that's part of the game too, is they're keeping you stupid. That's what I want you to overcome is the government and the media who are trying to keep you stupid. And then they can lie and come up with these explanations. And There won't be bailouts this time. See, last time in 2008, they bailed out the banks, which is a joke since the banks run the government. So the banks are bailing themselves out. Not a problem. But they can't bail themselves out now because of the 35 trillion in debt, and the value of the dollar is worthless. They can print, but all it's going to do is make the dollar worth less and less, and it's already at zero. So they can't really bail themselves out. That's why the lady at Fifth Third said, "Are you switching your bank?" And I just kind of laughed, going, "Why would I switch my bank?" I said, "I have my own bank at home. I don't use a bank. That's just ridiculous." So anyway, have a good day. I think I'm off to swim and Chinese today. Bobby, where the hell are you? I hope you're okay. What else can we say? Let's go through the college again. We got Clemson and Alabama. Alabama's 3.5, 164. We like the over in the game. Connecticut and Illinois. Connecticut's 8.5, 154. We're going to try Connecticut again. Tomorrow we've got Duke at NC State. We got Duke 6.5, 142.5. I like the under. And Purdue and Tennessee. We've got Purdue 3.5, 147. I'm going over 147. Two pretty strong offensive teams. And again, I don't know. I mean, Purdue gives up 70 a game, Tennessee 67. So I don't know. 147 seems like 80 to 70 we're over. Seems like they should get there. They played Gonzaga 80 to 68. Tennessee played Creighton 82-75. So they're I don't see any reason Purdue doesn't get into the 80s, and Tennessee should be right with them. So those are your four games. So today we start off with Alabama on the over against Clemson, and then UConn. I don't think Illinois is that can hang with UConn. So that's that. Again, pro football, we're looking for the draft coming up. Kind of a dry time now. Baseball is just starting. We'll start looking at that. Basketball playoffs, we'll start talking about that, even though it's really hard to watch basketball. It's so bad, but it's going to be more psychologic. A team goes down 2-0 and game three's at home and they must win. That's who we bet on, especially as a dog. But we try to look for like the 4-5. The 8-1, the 1's probably going to sweep. The 2-7 could be competitive. Then you get to the 3-6, and one team goes up 2-0, then you're going to nail the third. So that's kind of how we bet NBA basketball. Hockey, I have no idea. Is Mario Lemieux still playing? Bobby Orr, Bobby Hall, Brett Hall? We will see. I always thought Owen Hart looked a lot like Brett Hall. I thought they were like twins. Anyway, I was watching a little wrestling yesterday. It was like Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog, and then Owen Hart. And it was just, all the steroids these guys do. And it's just, it's terrible and they all end up dead from all the drugs. And, I think the escorts, it's the same thing. They do all the drugs and then it kills them. It hurts your body. It's like smoking. It really hurts your body. And, so it's just really a shame. Just if you understood just to be healthy, just eat normal stuff and have a little of, it's like me having a little ice cream and then, okay, now not eating for a while, or okay, I had it Sunday, I won't eat it till Saturday. Anything tight like that is really what you want to do. You can treat yourself in moderation, but you can't have chocolate cake every day and not think you're not going to get sick. Anyway, so Daria went to get her shoes, and I haven't That was yesterday morning. I haven't heard from her. That bothers me because I'm like, what are you doing? But the biggest thing you gotta, if you're dating a girl in Eastern Europe, Russia, Ukraine, is the time change. I mean, it's already it's let's say it's 2 o'clock here. It's 9 o'clock at night there already. So you have to realize their day's over, and it's So when I get up at 8 o'clock, it's already 3 o'clock for them. That's why normally, like Jenna, I'll get a text at 4 in the morning. It's already 11 o'clock. She's already anxious to text me. And I don't care. It doesn't, I hear the text and I'm happy. I go, oh, okay, good. I got a text. But I don't care about it. So Jenna, I don't know what, or Daria, I don't know what. Sometimes I lose her for a day or two. And then sometimes she's, oh, we're doing this and we did that. And then sometimes I just lose her. She said, did you hear about the Moscow shooting? And I said, yeah, of course. I sent her a few videos, but they're in English. So that's why I haven't sent them. I didn't think she could really understand it. Anyway, I'm pretty sure she's okay. I don't know what, I assume she's working today because I can see her on a lot. She works at a call center now, so I'm not sure if she can, how much she can text. Although I always get confused why she doesn't text now. But anyway, that's me being analytical. That's the problem being analytical. You're like, why the hell isn't she just, how long does it take to text? That's why I apologize, but that's when I get the text, it's 7 hours earlier that I do want to take it and just say hi and, just want to text her because now I don't know. When we meet, I'll straighten it out. Me and Jenna understand it because we've met a lot. So I am excited to meet her. Probably in June. I just want to lock the date. And I looked at hotels there. They're very nice. A lot of breakfast. Come with breakfast. The rooms look nice. Near the water, near the shopping. It's not that big of a city. I doubt it's as big as Vegas. I'm talking Belgrade, Serbia. But it looks nice. It looks fairly safe. There's the shopping mall and all the restaurants and the hotels. And then there's a whole bar district by the water, I guess. You can take a boat. You can go to the beach. There's walking path. It's a nice, for our purposes, it's a nice little city. It's funny. She says, do you think I'll be okay being Russian there? And I'm like, well, I wouldn't wear a shirt, I'm Russian, or, I love Putin. I don't think I'd do that. But if you just walk around in a normal shirt and I'll do the talk at the restaurants, I think I'll be okay. You don't have to say you can say you're Ukrainian, or you can say you're from Belarus, or why would you say anything? You don't have to say. Just at the hotel, she'll have a Russian passport. Anyway, so that's what's going on. Have a nice day. Again, the baskets today, we got 2 tonight, 2 on Sunday. Then we'll have our final 4 next week. Baseball starting, football draft in a month. I know economics, we kind of, there's only so much you can say without repeating, and that's why, but I try to keep you up to date. Your gold's 22.33, COMEX is finally breaking, BRICS is doing this. So I can inform you on things that are changing, but you've got the concept. You understand why COMEX is breaking. You understand what BRICS is. And that's really what I'm trying to just keep you informed of. Otherwise, I don't know what else. We've talked a little bit about history and the presidents. I can maybe try to get more into that. If you have any suggestions, please tell me. But, there's only so much. It's like algebra. I can only teach you, 3x plus y equals 17. I can only do it so many times. It's only so many ways to look at it. So I hope you understand that. And I see a few less people on the live chat. I don't know if it's the time or what. So I'm starting to do them a little bit later, like 2, 3 o'clock. I used to do them at 11 or 12. and then go swimming. Maybe I'll go back to that. I like getting out for swimming and then do the class and then make dinner. But anyway, have a good day, everybody. Happy Easter tomorrow. I'll be on tomorrow about 11 o'clock ish, maybe 12. I slept in today. And have a nice day. Be happy, be healthy, watch your sugars, and enjoy. All right, everybody. www.teaserking.com. Have a great day.